Hi, this is Alex, AK Kincaid, and shooting someone in your own home. What are the rules? I'm going to talk to you today with Greg Pruett, president of the Idaho Second Amendment Alliance, about the next legislative push here in the state of Idaho, and it's a trend happening around the country. Stay tuned. This is Alex, AK Kincaid. Welcome to the AK Show. Greg, thanks for talking to me today on the AK Show. So, we tried this once before, didn't we?
We did. It was a little while ago.
First, tell everybody about the Idaho Second Amendment Alliance and what you are working towards here in the state of Idaho.
Yeah, we're a grassroots group based out of Idaho, and I started the group back in 2012 because I wanted something that was local to Idaho and a group that would represent what Idaho gun owners were trying to fight for. You know, some of these big national organizations, they get lots of money, they get lots of donations from Idaho citizens, but that money may or may not stay here. It may or may not go to help some of the battles that they want to see fought here in Idaho. And so we started that organization to fight for what Idaho gun owners were wanting. And I think we've been pretty successful so far.
Big win this year.
Yeah.
Permitless carry came to Idaho.
Yes, finally.
That was backed by the Idaho Second Amendment Alliance. And in the past, we were working on that bill here in Idaho. It took 4 years to get it through. But we also tried a new Castle Doctrine that really kind of got buried in the past, right?
Yeah,
yeah,
it did.
And now you are pushing for this bill. The Idaho Second Amendment Alliance is pushing for a new law here in Idaho that's going to talk about when you can shoot someone in your own home, right?
Yeah, and that was kind of, there was a couple big issues. Permitless carry was one, Castle Doctrine was one, Stand Your Ground was one, so campus carry was another big issue. Obviously, our main push, and one of the reasons I started the group, was to go after permitless carry. And so now that that's pretty much done and over with, we got some small adjustments to that. But we really felt like, most citizens, and when we polled the Idaho gun owners, what they wanted to see, it was an upgraded Castle Doctrine. I know that's something you've been wanting to do for quite a while based on the current law and how atrocious it really is.
Well, I want to read
to
it.
protect gun owners.
I'm going to read it
because
because we hear from people, the majority of gun owners who understand what we're trying to change support this effort, right?
That's correct.
But we almost routinely hear still complaints about what's wrong with the current law. Why do we need to change this? Well, let me read you what the current law says. This is Idaho Code Section 18-4009, and it says that you can lawfully use deadly force against another person if, and there's a special provision for what the standard is inside your own home. This is not a Castle Doctrine. This is called a Justifiable Homicide statute.
That's
so
correct.
In other words, the law presumes that you committed an act of homicide. You took another person's life. We're going to presume that was homicide. That's a crime, okay?
Yes.
But that homicide could be deemed justifiable if you can prove certain facts.
Sure.
So it puts the burden on you. So let's start there, right? The justifiable homicide, not a Castle Doctrine. This statute says you justifiably took another person's life or used deadly force against another person when committed in defense of habitation, property, or person against one who manifestly intends or endeavors by violence or surprise to commit a felony, or against one who manifestly intends and endeavors in a violent, riotous, or tumultuous manner to enter the habitation of another for the purpose of offering violence to any person therein. What does that mean?
Well, it's not what Idaho homeowners think it means, that's for sure.
Well, and when I look at this as a lawyer, I'm always looking to a standard of reasonableness. We're required to do that. So what it means is, you had an example. I think this is best shown to people by an example of what happened up north recently,
the guy
right?
up
You
north.
want to talk about that?
Yeah, and I don't, this is just me trying to remember from the post, but it was on Facebook in an Idaho Northern group, and somebody, I believe, said that somebody had wandered onto their property completely drunk,
Right.
and it was late at night, and they asked the question, if this person had come onto my property and I didn't know they were drunk, can I shoot them? Can I take action against their life, because I don't know if they're armed. I don't know if they're what their intentions are, and I felt that was a really good example of what we're trying to hopefully correct in the future. That had that person taken action, there would have been some defense for them.
Right. Well, so if somebody's drunk on your property, even right now, if they come inside your home, let's say you wake up in the middle of the night, drunk person in your home, and you engage with them because you don't have any grounds at that point. Just by them merely being in your home doesn't mean you get to shoot them, okay? Sure. It means that you need to figure out if they intend to cause you great bodily harm or kill you. And if you can articulate that fact, and that is deemed to be reasonable, then yes, you may be able to use deadly force against that person. Yeah. So if you engage with that person and you say, get out, I'm calling 911, get out, and the person keeps walking towards you and they're drunk, they may or may not have any kind of a weapon on them. How do you know that? What if you're upstairs and you're looking down, the person starts coming up the stairs? Do you get to shoot them? They're just drunk and in your home and they walked into the wrong place. You could be in a heap of trouble. Yeah. Okay? And so what we're trying to do is protect the homeowner. We're trying to shift that burden through this legislation from being on the side of the criminal, which makes the homeowner prove that they were in the right, to being on the side of the homeowner, which means the criminal had better prove that they had a lawful reason for being in that house.
Well, you've got so much to think about as a homeowner, and especially a lot of this is going to take place in the middle of the night. You've got all sorts of decisions. You've got people like me where my kids sleep on the other side of the house. Mm-hmm. It's split level, and so I have no idea. Like you said, they might walk in drunk. They might have a knife or a gun. I really don't know. They may just come in and say, "Hey, man, I'm drunk." Yeah. No big deal. And I'm thinking, well, no, shoot, now I can't. Yeah, he didn't say he was coming in here to shoot me or kill me.
Right.
And so I'm calling the cops, maybe trying and hoping this guy's going to get out of my house. He said he doesn't want to leave, and all of a sudden he decides, no, now I'm going to get my gun. I'm going to go try and kill somebody. That's a whole lot of burden to put on somebody. Nobody wants to take anybody's life, and I think that's the key. Is homeowners don't want to shoot anybody because you know that for the rest of your life that's traumatic. That's a traumatic experience, and the last thing they should have to worry about on top of that experience is, crap, am I going to jail? Are these people going to sue me because I killed their son or whoever for breaking into my home? That's not something they should have to worry about.
Right. So if you step that situation up a notch, and let's say the person that comes inside the home is not drunk, but they have a knife and they're acting bizarre, which, having been in law enforcement as a prosecutor for a long time, people who are on drugs don't act like you and I, right? They are not mentally right, and they engage in behavior that is absolutely bizarre. Sure. So you may say stop, you can even point a gun at them and they'll just keep walking at you, or they have strength that is unbelievable, that's not normal. And so if that person is inside your home and they have a knife in their hand and you're looking at them and you say, you need to get out of the house, I'll shoot, and they start advancing towards you, and let's say you make the choice that you need to defend your family in that moment and shoot them, probably under current law, you're going to be justified in that situation as well. But what we're trying to do is protect the person who may otherwise be investigated or prosecuted for making a decision that was the best decision that they could make at the time, because there's someone in their home who is uninvited, does not live there, is not a law enforcement officer. We've written all those exceptions into this bill. Yeah. And they rightfully, like most of us would, fear for themselves and their families in that situation in the middle of the night, and they decide, I'm going to err on the side of protecting my loved ones, and they shoot. Yeah. Those people should not have the law on the side of the criminal. They should have the law on their side. Yeah. And that's what that Castle Doctrine's all about, right?
Yeah, and that's really what it's supposed to do. In fact, we're calling it the Castle Doctrine upgrade, but really we don't have one.
Right.
when it comes down to it, and you're right, we want to protect those innocent people. And in fact, as we went around and did all those rallies across the state.
Right.
And tried to promote it and get people excited about it, and a lot of homeowners they're really excited. And when we explain these different situations to them, I don't want to say it's pushback, but it's usually like, well, do you think the Idaho courts would? And I stop them right there and I said, look, that's the problem. Right. I don't want to leave my life or any homeowner's life in the hands of the court or a prosecutor or anybody like that. Well, sure, in Idaho, yes, there's a good chance that you're going to get that justifiable homicide, but I don't want to leave good chance
and our demographics
for my life.
Are changing.
Yeah, and it's
our
changing.
Demographics
it's changing
are changing.
A lot. Yeah.
So if we want to protect what we have here in this state, This castle doctrine is absolutely essential
It's necessary,
in order to do
yeah.
that. The law enforcement officers that I've spoken to about this think it's a good idea. They think this law needs to be cleared up as well.
Sure.
It's this weird, fuzzy, archaic standard right now. And it's not on the side of the law-abiding citizen. It's on the side of that person who, for whatever reason, might intrude in your home, even if they're just stealing.
Sure.
That's the other thing. Someone comes in your home and they're taking the TV off the wall in the middle of the night. You don't get to shoot them.
Yeah.
That's not the law, folks.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we want to try to clear that up and make sure that if you're in a position where the person's uninvited, the law is on your side, not their side.
As it should be.
Yeah.
As it should be.
Washington State has an interesting law, as do we here in Idaho. We have a law that I think some people have heard about that says if you are acquitted of in a criminal trial for using deadly force, the person doesn't get to come back and sue you for money. They can't sue you in civil court. Washington State also has a law that protects you from wrongful prosecution. So, like, Zimmerman has become the iconic classic example of this, right? You see the prosecutors decline prosecution and they get pushed into doing it, and $2 million that he's paid in his defense later, he's bankrupt, he's divorced, this has ruined his life. That's the kind of situation that we absolutely want to avoid.
Sure.
And what Washington State law says is if the authorities prosecute you and they do it wrongfully and you're acquitted, because acquitted means there wasn't enough evidence there, right?
Yeah.
So in that situation, the state actually has to reimburse you the attorney fees.
Sure.
I think that would make prosecutors like those in the Zimmerman case think twice before they took that case and got an indictment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we definitely want to have laws that have some teeth to it, so that when somebody from, like you said, a prosecutor does something that they shouldn't, there's some punishment there, rather than just saying, oh, well, you did it, but no big deal.
Right.
There should be some punishment for them as well,
Right.
For not following the law. So.
Exactly. So, well, any other things you want to share about the Idaho Second Amendment Alliance? You've grown in leaps and bounds over the last few years.
Yeah.
And people can contact you and join the group. How?
Yeah, they can go to idahosaa.org. There they can get merchandise, donate time or money. We need it all, and we have grown significantly, especially this last year. Mm-hmm. It's been a huge year. We got permitless carry, but we've got more work to do, and I think this is a huge deal, and we don't know. The election's not far away, and so this could be a huge opportunity. If Hillary Clinton wins, my goodness, we've got to get our laws absolutely solidified in the fastest amount of time possible.
Right.
So we've got a lot of work to do. It's Idaho. We got some of the best gun laws in the country, but there's definitely room for improvement. Like you said, the demographics are changing, so we've got to up our game and get. We want to be the leaders in the gun rights movement, and that's where we haven't been. Idaho just kind of follows along with what everybody else is doing, and I don't want to see that.
No, I don't either. And I think, for people who are in other states, it's important to realize that you can start groups like the Idaho Second Amendment Alliance in your own state. You may even have one. But saving your Second Amendment rights and protecting them at the state level really, really is important if you're going to prevent your state from going down the path of California, Colorado, Connecticut, the list goes on and on, New York, right?
Oregon,
I know. It just keeps getting worse and worse around the country. And because Congress has not allowed further infringement on our Second Amendment rights, and we've had a court with Justice Scalia until recently that protected the Second Amendment, as for the most part. The feds have been unsuccessful in further infringement, and what we're seeing is at the state level. At the state level is where your Second Amendment protections are just being torn apart and torn to shreds. So get involved and get active, and if you're going to talk about something like a castle doctrine or stand your ground laws, understand what they mean.
All right.
Thank you, Greg.
Yeah, thank you.
This is Alex AK Kincaid, and thank you for watching the AK Show.